Good morning, and welcome to a Foyer Talk, where I'm actually in the foyer, and I love being in the foyer. It's a reminder of the missionaries' pictures behind me that there are people serving God in great ways. And I love the fact that each and every one of us has our own ministry before God. God has something for us all to do. It's been organized for us as individuals to fit into His church, His local body, and His global church. So what I want to share with you today is something that I am struggling with most days, and that's busy. Life is busy. The world has become busier. How we do things have become more involved. And that's not just because it's COVID or because it's 2021. It's because busy is a distraction. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we shouldn't be about God's work and keeping ourselves occupied doing what God has us for do. I'm talking about busy for the sake of being busy. Pastor and I were talking the other day, and he recently put something on Facebook called "Boring is underrated." So we read through the Bible and read through the ministry of Christ, and even Jesus Christ here on earth took time to get away, to be less busy. And when I'm struggling with my own life, almost daily, is that I find myself being busy and not focusing on what is truly foundational in my relationship with Jesus Christ and God. Prayer in His Word. And what I'm finding that I have a lot of difficulty with is being quiet. Being before the Lord and just not saying anything, not asking for anything, not praying and things like that. Just quiet time where He can speak to me. Most of us as Christians can say we've had an opportunity to hear from God about something. I can remember God telling me about marrying my wife. I can remember God telling me to get to know Him better. That was years ago, and I'm still struggling with busy to complete these tasks. God is speaking to us. If we haven't heard what He has to say to us, then it might be time, and I'm struggling with this too, to have quiet time before the Lord. So a pastor friend of mine in New York, we were talking the other day, and he said that he actually had a sermon called Busy. And he put the acronym of being under Satan's yoke, busy. I'm not saying that every time we're busy and we're doing stuff that we're not doing godly things. But if you find yourself being busy to be busy, then you're too busy. Yeah, I know that sounds kind of funny. So what I'm trying to do, and I'm asking and inviting you to try with me, is to find time to be quiet with God. Prayer, reading the Word, and just enjoying what God has for you. There's beauty everywhere. One of the things that I do regularly, and I really do work on doing daily, is just to spend 30 seconds a day just thanking God for who He is, looking out the car window as I drive to work. And fortunately, it's getting lighter, so I can actually see things. But when I couldn't, I could see the stars. And recognizing the fact that God put all of this in place. God put me in this time and in this place to do His work as He designed it for me. I love talking about, many of you may know the lady named Debbie Keever. She's part of Laura Moreno's ministries. And she remembers the call that she received from God. And God told her to wait to raise her kids. So she'd been called to do ministry and 20 years to raise her kids. So her ministry for 20 years was raising her children. If you're a mother or you're a father, you're a husband or a wife, being that person is part of your ministry. So allow God to empower you with new mercies every day to do that ministry. And be quiet in front of Him and be still with Him so that He can direct your path. This will help us all, and myself, to be less busy and to just seriously and quietly allow God to direct our path. All promises from His Word, all biblical. And I love the fact that even Jesus took time away from His ministry of being the King here on earth to be alone with His Heavenly Father. An example that I need to follow more, and maybe all of us do. Have a great, great weekend. Bye-bye.